YouTube channel. Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Manoko for those who don't know, and today I have a guest.
Hi everyone.
Khensani and I met in 2022 when she invited me to come to her podcast as a guest. So yeah, I will link everything in the description box. So today's video is actually not gonna say highly requested because you're gonna drag me, but a lot of people on TikTok. I've been getting a lot of TikTok messages, people asking me about how they can be lawyers that are not practicing. Everyone right now is trying to ditch private practice. And I thought, why not bring someone that is not practicing but also not in compliance? So someone that is in corporate, because I noticed that a lot of people are into that. They just really don't know how to go about it. And today I went and sourced someone very, 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 very close to my heart.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Choms, you don't know that. This is Khensani Godi. Khensani is an attorney, is an admitted attorney of the High Court of South Africa, and she has an LLB. She has a BCom law and an LLB degree from Wits. Wits in what is Wits full word of?
Witwatersrand.
That part. Nailed it. So Khensani is an in-house legal counsel specializing in mining law, and she is also a YouTube creator. She creates content about faith, education, wisdom, and lifestyle content. Yes, and that is where we met. Actually, that's how we met, when she invited me to her YouTube channel back in 2022. So please check it out. I'm going to link the channel down in the description box. So please subscribe. Say it. Should we say it with your chest?
Subscribe, guys. Hybo. Yini.
Subscribe and then watch and leave a comment. So Chomi, I'm just gonna get straight to the point. I'm not gonna like do the whole, oh, tell us about yourself and like, oh, where did you do your LLB? I'm just gonna get straight into what people want, which is the tea on corporate.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fine.
okay, number one, firstly, how are you finding in-house?
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. I love that in-house promotes wellness. Okay. Right. It promotes there's a sense that they actually care about employees, whether that is true or not, but they try and implement some form of wellness, and which I think lacks within practice. I'm just not sure about bigger law firms, but I know with medium to small law firms, wellness isn't something that is really cultivated. You have to show up all the time. You have to show up when you are exhausted mentally, because there's always some form of deliverable or performance that you have to deliver. But I think that the culture within in-house is that of wellness and support, and they sort of try to also just make their employees happy to a certain extent. Like they have programs, they have dedicated programs that sort of cultivate an environment where you have happy employees.
Yeah, actually, corporate companies are big on the culture thing, like it's an actual thing. Also, I think there was a time when you invited Atlerang, and I think you were asking her about the difference between private practice and she said like, oh, in corporate there's like the whole culture thing, they care about the wellness and stuff. In private practice, Sana, we just care about the client. We're trying to please the client. At what cost? They don't care.
What do you call when there's that thing that we call it the hours or
billables?
Billables, right?
Yeah, you gotta chase billables.
Yes.
Yeah. We said that you're an in-house legal specialist in mining law. Fancy. I know that you've always wanted this.
Yes.
So what exactly do you do?
From a
lawyer's perspective.
Okay, so basically what you normally have as legal counsel. So you know that before I went to the mining company, I actually went to telecoms, right? And there my title was legal counsel. And from that company, because they had legal counsel, senior legal counsel, and general counsel, all types of legal matters come to you. That is, whether it's labor, whether it's property, whether it's litigation, whatever commercial, it comes to you. So you were doing all of that and not specialized. So now what I do is I am sort of like legal counsel but more specialized, because I only work with matters related to mining, property, and permitting. That means I don't do commercial stuff.
Not litigation.
Even if it's litigation, it has to do with property or mining. Yeah, so I only focus on that. That means I look at your permitting things. It's like your environmental authorizations, making sure that our property, we have proper property schedules, we have our mining rights in order. So those are the kind of things that I work with. It's just specialized. I will not get a labor dispute. I will not get a contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Chomi, do you like it though?
I love it.
It's one of my questions, but I want to ask.
I love it.
Okay. So how is in-house different from private practice? I know that you've already touched on it a bit, based on the work culture and billables. But yeah. Also, Chomi, please bear in mind that my subscribers, some of them are still students, so they don't really know how billables work. So try to take that into consideration when you answer this question.
Okay, I hope I'm able to address this question properly. But I think the biggest difference is the work, right? In practice, you do a lot of research, you do a lot of drafting, you do court attendances, research, drafting, attendances, and then consultations directly. You work directly with clients. And in-house, we are the client, right? That means certain work goes out to the attorneys to do. Drafting like litigation papers will go to
the outsourced attorneys.
Yes, to the attorneys. Litigation work, so I won't attend court because the person who's going to attend court is our attorneys. Unless if I have to be there because I'm the client to instruct counsel to argue a matter in a certain way or to bring facts to them. Research, the amount of research that we do is not in the form of you going to draft an opinion, right? Because the attorneys, we delegate that work to the attorneys. So you will do research, but not to that extent. And it's because we work with a lot of data. So can you imagine a large company, right? You're a big company. How many matters actually come to you? And there's, let's say, 5 legal counsel there. You cannot do all that work, right? So you delegate all that work, or you give all that work to attorneys to do the research, to do the extensive work, because you are sort of managing a portfolio. I'm not sure if that answers the question, but you do a lot of management. Like I said, we work with a lot of properties. A lot of properties means different kind of disputes, environmental, property, let's say, for example, illegal mining. All of that, imagine if I had to draft all of those papers, right? So it always goes out to external counsel, and you make sure that legally you are above board, the company is above board, or you protect, basically you protect the interests of the company as an in-house lawyer.
Okay, so that is how in-house is different from private practice work-wise.
Work-wise, yeah, work-wise. I think that's the most important one, right?
Yeah, what about others? No, the most important thing is the money-wise, like billables, how you earn money. In private practice, they have billables, and then with us, with people that are in-house, that are not practicing, we have a stable salary every single month.
So you've answered that. So basically, that's it. And I think it really depends. Practice is very demanding. So you must be somebody who's very flexible. I really motivate that. You must be somebody who's very flexible. Practice is very demanding.
Fast-paced environment.
It's demanding to the extent that, and I'm not saying corporate isn't, but like I said, because they have a wellness culture, they understand if you are pregnant, You know, and I'm not saying practice they don't.
Don't be scared to say it, especially for candidate attorneys. Don't fall pregnant as a candidate attorneys, because you're not recognized as an employee, so that Basic Conditions of Employment Act doesn't apply to you. So you don't have 4 months of maternity leave. You have 30 days that is given to you by the LPC. So so don't be scared to say it.
Yeah. So it's those kind of things. Like, practice is very demanding. Financially, again, it depends on the firm that you work at,
and it also depends on the corporate company that you're working.
And I really feel like, because of that, if you're not in the top law firms, you will work as hard as them but not earn as much as them, which is a bit not fair to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But I won't lie and say, but with practice you learn a lot of the law. If you want to learn law and you want to be a great advocate, you want to be a great judge, you have to stay in practice. You learn a lot of the law there, because you do the extensive work.
You practice it every day.
You practice it every day. All the complicated questions come to you for resolving and advising your clients, which is in-house. It's your client, your companies, through your in-house attorneys. And benefits, I like corporate benefits. As much as it is.
Don't discourage people from private practice.
No, I'm not. I
miss private practice.
Like I said, you know what? You can miss the work, but I don't miss the culture. I do not miss. I miss the work, but not the culture. And I am glad that I do get like a very challenging work at the same time. But I am healthy. I am healthy.
I like that.
And for my age, because when I left practice, I was looking at who I want to be within the next 5 to 10 years, and I was like, I will not be able to survive within this space for the person that I want to be.
Okay, have you ever, like, this is not all the questions, like, have you ever considered giving practice a second chance, just in a different firm?
I have.
And
I have, just not now.
Okay.
Just not now. I'm willing to do it 5 to 10 years from now. Maybe I would, depending on how far I am within corporate. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, Chomi, you've touched on like financially and work culture and money. What
and
else?
Health.
And health.
Yeah, or wellness.
Wellness. Okay, that's enough. Okay. Sharp. With a lot of people losing interest in private practice, is it possible to venture into your role or go for a similar route, even though you're not an admitted legal practitioner?
My specific one, or all sort of legal counsel roles?
No, not your specific one, like that. Your one and your similar within the company or within.
I don't think companies want somebody who's not admitted. So you've seen the posts for legal advisor, legal counsel, legal specialist. One of the requirements, you must be an admitted attorney with post-article experience of last 2 years or plus 1 year or whatever. So they do want somebody who has been admitted as an attorney. So the chances are minimal. Unless if you go through, is it learnership programs or graduate programs? Yes, and you will get into some form of advisory roles because you have an LLB degree.
Yeah.
But I do not think it will be the same as somebody who comes in while they were admitted.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Also, getting in through a grad program or through a learnership can also be limiting in the future, because sometimes or some posts that you apply for, especially outside of that company, you find that you start with that particular company as a grad, then you grow in your role, and then afterwards, when you have to apply externally, you find that you have like 5 years experience, but they want 5 years post-admission experience.
So good, that's good.
Yeah. I also wanted to ask you this, that do you have like colleagues that are like people that you work with that are doing like similar work, but are not admitted attorneys, the people in your legal team at where you work, is it all admitted attorneys and advocates?
So we, like I said, we're a very specialized legal team.
Yeah.
Right. So we need specialist advice. So we have environmental people, we have environmental specialists,
Yeah.
we have people who were in geology, for example. So we have different people. We do have other admitted attorneys with different backgrounds. Somebody in conveyancing, for example, who's a conveyancer, because we work with property, right? And they understand the drafting and the processes of properties and all of that. And then there's somebody with a background in enviro or those kind of things. So it's different people, and this is because you don't only need lawyers, we need specialist advice.
Okay, so let me rephrase my question, because I think now my subscribers, they are law graduates and lawyers and law students.
It's okay.
Do you have LLB holders that are not admitted legal practitioners in your
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of.
How do you think it'll work though? Like, do you think it'll work? And please be honest, like, it's okay if it won't work, especially because you're in a specialized thing. Like, do you think that maybe if you guys were to recruit like an intern or like a grad to join the team, do you think they would be able to like cope with just a degree, certificate, and learn on the job? Because anyway, we all learn on the job. Yeah. Without admission, and without admission means without the article's experience,
the thing
which is character building. Sorry,
honestly, because of the level of speciality, it would take so much time to learn. And I do not think, and I'm not saying you cannot come in and learn, you can. It will just take time. And I think it's very helpful for me to come from practice, to understand the kind of legislation that you are working with. Even for me now to go to mergers and acquisitions, friend. You get me? I'm saying I can learn fast because maybe I am smart, but it's not the same as somebody who has private practice experience
in that particular
on how quick they are to understand what the problem is, what the issue is. Is this something that we need to refer to counsel? Is this something we can resolve on our own? Is this a litigious matter? Is this something that can be resolved by negotiation? How do we approach this matter? That requires a bit of experience
from private practice.
Yes, there's no way you're gonna come and think you're gonna understand enviro legislation. It's a bit complicated.
It is it is.
You get me?
Yeah.
So it's those kind of things where I think practice is important. You learn things like there's a difference between an act, a regulation, a policy, a bylaw. A lot of people don't know that. Exactly, you can only learn that way in practice.
Yeah.
And it's simple things like that nobody wants to be like, hey, you are a legal person, please find the environmental bylaw at Ekurhuleni, and then it's what is a bylaw?
What is a bylaw?
And I think there's space for teaching, but if it's a high performance team, there's no time.
There's
no time.
Eish. Okay. So I think you answered my question, which is my next one. It was gonna be like, do you have colleagues doing similar work that are not admitted attorneys? So you said that not really, but do you have other attorneys that is not you?
No, we do because remember, we only do specific matters, mining property. We have commercial attorneys, so we have people who do commercial, and I think there's people who do marketing and all of that. So we have different attorneys who specialize in different fields, who know how to deal with different issues.
Okay. So you just answered my question, which was going to be like, do you think that you need to be an admitted attorney to be able to do the work that you do?
My advice, guys, admission is worth it. Learning the work is worth it. You will not regret it. That training teaches you to respect craft. It teaches you to respect the law. there's so many things we learn. The work ethic. You cannot leave when you leave. If we had gone straight in-house and learned to relax, I don't think we'd be able to perform as much as we do. But because we come from a culture where we were taught performance, deliver, whatever you want, we have a, so I think that practice teaches you things, invaluable things. It doesn't have to be only legislation, understanding issues and being able to draft and all of that. There's work ethic, there's time management, there's understanding that, guys, there's value in the work that you bring in. You are solving a problem. You start to value and respect your craft, and you can only learn that through practice. You can learn it in-house.
That's true.
Depending on who leads you and who's your guide, because you can learn it. But I'm just saying that for me, practice taught me excellence. Like, how many times would you go back after drafting one thing?
And then it has to go back to some of your other colleagues before it gets to the big boss, and then the other colleagues will come back with mistakes, and then you rectify, and then it goes through them, and then it goes to your director, then he rectifies other mistakes, and then it goes back.
And then you learn what responsibility and accountability.
Yeah, and that's just the one letter.
And you can't say that Mang did this. It's your letter.
Yeah. And also, mistakes are very expensive. I had like a thing with Anita yesterday. We filmed yesterday, and she was talking about how there's no really room for like mistakes in private practice. There is, but at what cost? Mistakes are expensive in practice. That's why you guys would think that lawyers are so uptight. I used to not understand why my principal was like that, because he'd always be like he'd always make a big deal over a comma, and now I understand it, because that can cost you a lot of money.
The urgency. If you miss a date, you know it's over for you guys. There's a date in terms of which an appeal must be lodged, and there's a process. Imagine an appeal being dismissed because you didn't pay an appeal fee. Or things like that.
When you apply for a date, like in Pretoria High Court, if you go and apply for a date today, you're probably going to get a date in 2027, 2026, you're gonna get a date, and then when that date approaches, you don't find your documents properly, or there's like documents that are not well drafted, and the matter does not make it to the roll, or it makes it to the roll and then struck off the roll. Then you have to reapply for a date and wait for another 3 years. What happens to the client? It sounds like my principal.
The cost, because
cost,
sometimes you're working with a lot of money. You forget that. You're working with millions, so you're responsible for quite a lot of things.
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of people just escape, man. People just want to escape practice because, like, you're at what cost?
And your reputation, guys. Your
reputation. You don't want to be known as that lawyer that What advice would you give to law students, law graduates, or viewers, or my subscribers that want to go your route, specifically your route, like which is like the mining route or the in-house? The in-house and the mining route.
Okay, so what advice would I give? My first advice is learn as much as you can in practice. Be humble about learning as much as you can. Like we said, by the time you move to corporate, there must be some value that you want to add to the company, and you must understand that you can bring that value, right? So learn as much as you can while in practice, and understand why you want to leave, and don't leave too early just because you want to leave.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense.
Leave when you are ready to leave. So it's not if you feel like you're not ready, then don't leave, because it's a valuable experience that later on will pay, I guess, maybe 3 times more. I don't know.
That's true.
That's my advice, guys.
Okay, so but if that's what you're saying, right? If that's the advice that you're giving, you're basically saying that, listen, get admitted first. That's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
That's your advice.
That's my advice.
Okay, so the advice is saying get admitted first, and while on your process of getting admitted, or while in the admission process, do that, which is to make sure that you leave for a reason. You learn as much as you can, and you mustn't leave just because you want to leave. You must leave because
you have learned.
Yeah.
You have learned something, and you can bring value to the company that you want to be in. Because the biggest thing with us is we leave your first 2 years of as a candidate, you're not even given as much responsibility.
Girl, what do you mean? I left immediately after admission.
I know. I'm saying for me personally, it's my advice. Hello.
Okay. Okay.
No, for me it worked. I felt like had I left a bit, I could have left a bit sooner. But I am glad I stayed because I learned a lot more post-admission and more responsibility, and I understood my value by the time I left.
That's
if
true.
I had left a bit sooner, they would have played me.
That's true.
And actually, I had that experience where after admission, I wanted to go to a property developer, and then they offered me very
low. Yeah.
And I stayed in practice because I was like, there's no way I'm going in-house to earn that.
Yeah.
And then I stayed in practice. And then I'm glad I stayed in practice because by the time I left,
then you have to know.
I knew my value. There were certain amounts that I was not willing to accept. And I was confident in that because I know what I can bring to the table. When you leave very early, sometimes you don't know what you have to offer.
That's true. I agree, ma'am.
That's it.
Like Winfrey. Okay, last question, but not least, is that would you go back to private practice?
We spoke about this though earlier.
No, but like you didn't.
We did. Not on camera actually.
Have we?
We did. I said I'd possibly consider it 5 to 10 years from now, depending on where I am in my career in-house.
So you would? That's it.
I would consider it.
Okay.
Yeah. Depending on where I am.
And depending on what you want from.
Because seasons change, and
so do people, and that's okay.
Exactly.
Because I know that a lot of people, some of my friends, like when you ask them, would you go to practice? It's immediately no. Like it's immediately no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So
it
really depends.
Shock a lot of people when they ask me, would you go back to practice? Immediately, yes, I would.
Okay.
Yeah, I would go back to private practice. So it's shocking because I'm the only person that I know that would consider going back to practice. Yeah. Everyone else would tell you immediately, no, what the hell am I going to do in practice? Why would I put myself through billable hours and work until 1 a.m.?
See, for me, it depends on where I am. Because let's say that 10 years from now, 15 years from now, I am done with children. I am done being a family woman, and I have succeeded in my passion projects, for example. And I need stress.
Yeah.
And I can manage stress, and my husband is supportive. It's something I would consider. Okay. And if the benefits are good,
then why not?
Then it's learning, right? You're constantly learning, and maybe you might just want to consider a seat at
the bench. Yeah, I think you'd. I always thought that you're gonna end up there.
Girl, no.
No, of course. I really always thought that you're gonna end up there.
Maybe not. You know what? In the Concord, aren't they considering academics into constitutional court? I think they are. The role of a judge is to be impartial.
Of course. You
must know yourself.
Yeah. And then you must know the law and then apply the law accordingly.
Exactly.
Without fear, favor, or prejudice.
Exactly. So
that part.
Know yourself. And I'm not saying that I will not consider it if God says it, right?
Yeah.
I might. Because again, impartiality is, you read, it's the law. Basically, I must just read the law, interpret it, and apply. Exactly. So to a certain extent, impartiality is upon.
Yeah, of course. That's exactly what Anita said yesterday.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, not in these exact words. Thank you so much for coming, Chomi.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
I love legal content, so
we're gonna do this again very soon.
If they want me.
Of course.
If they come back and say, no, she's a bit boring for us.
No, there's no way, Chomi. We're gonna do a lot of other stuff, like tips for candidate attorneys, like don't fall pregnant. There's so many things I need you here for.
Guys, life happens. Life happens. Brace yourselves for it.
Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
subscribe.